Hello, hello students. So today, welcome to our next topic. So today we'll be discussing about the network simulator. I think right now you know how to install VMware, Ubuntu, and NS2, right? So already I have given in the previous video. So I have clearly explained how to install all these softwares, and I have given the link also in the Google Classroom so that you can download these softwares and you can try to install it in your system. So today we are going to look into the network simulator. So what is this network simulator? So brief introduction to about this network simulators, so that it helps us to do some of the or try to do various programs related to the computer networks. So now when we are talking about this simulator, so simulator means a simulation. So what actually we are trying to do is that now in the theory, so when we discuss lot of things about the networks, we discuss lot of things about the nodes, the source, the destination, you are going to transmit the packets. So now, but actually how to test all those things, now how to visualize all those things so that we can simulate. So that's what we try to tell, that we can simulate all those things and try to test it in our system before we go for actual implementation. So we simulate the entire network here, how the packets are going, what is the propagation, what is the delay, is there any drop in the packet. So each and every small points also we can try to simulate it in our system. So if everything is working fine, then we go for the actual implementation. So now this we call it as a simulation. And for doing the network simulation, we have lot of simulators are available. One of the popularly used simulator is called as Network Simulator 2 or NS2. So one of the most popular simulator is called it as NS version 2, or it's called as NS2. Now this NS2 is a discrete event driven network simulators. Now when we are talking about these simulators, now we have generally two types of simulators. Now one is called as the time driven, the other one is the event driven. Now when your NS2 is a discrete event driven, so that means once an event occurs, then only the next whatever the changes is there, you are going to note it down. So we call it as event driven, right? Say for example, now you are doing some softwares in .NET and all, so you try to create some text box, you try to like say user ID, password, you do something, then just by entering user ID and password, will there be any change in your screen? There won't be any change until the user is going to click submit button. When you click on submit, an event triggers. What is that event? When you click on submit button, you are writing some coding in that event, that is under the submit button click event of that button, right? So you are going to extract the data what is present in the text box and send it to the server, check, you do some work. So that's what we call event driven. Now there is another type of simulation which is called as time driven. So which basically the working will happen based on the time. From this time to this particular time, you are going to check whether there is any change in your system and you note down that particular change. Right? That is the difference between those two. Now here our NS2 is a event driven simulator we are going to use. Now it was first developed of course by the UC Berkeley, and this particular NS2 is written with the help of two languages. One is C++ and other one is called as OTCL, right? So here we are using two things, one is C++ and the other one is OTCL. So NS is primarily, it is useful in our we can say the local as well as wide area networks. That means when you want to simulate a local area network or you want to simulate a wide area network, so now you are going to use the NS2 simulators, right? So now coming to the as we told that now we are having two types of languages here, right? So one is the C++, the other one is the OTCL. Now what is this? We'll try to look into this. So now some of the features of this is, of course, it is open source and free. Our NS2 is an open source simulator and it is freely available. And this is the language. This is very important for us. TCL, that is tool command language. Now it uses TCL scripts. So in our next module, we will be going in or we can say brief introduction to a TCL scripts. What do you mean by TCL scripts? Now some simple programs are writing on the TCL script, because until you don't know how to write a TCL scripts, now it is very difficult for us to later on work with the NS2 program. So now here one language is called as a tool command language. Now this is used for specifying various scenarios and events in our network, right? So now one is the TCL. Now here we are calling it as OTCL. OTCL means object oriented. Very simple. Object oriented tool command language. In general we just use it as a TCL, but it is actually an object oriented tool command language, and NS2 is used for simulating both wired as well as wireless networks, right? We have three types of networks. One is wired networks, one is wireless networks, and the other one in between, right, semi-wired. So now by using NS2 we can try to simulate either wired networks or wireless networks. Now it is very useful to know, as I told, how to write the program in TCL. Before, if you want to use your NS2, you should know TCL. That is what we will be discussing in our next topic. What is how to write a TCL and how to execute the TCL program. So from the knowledge of TCL script, once you have the sufficient knowledge of TCL scripts and you know the format of a NS2 program, so then it becomes very easy now for you people. You can try to write or design your own networks. So you can try to work on these simple programs, or you can do certain especially when you are going for research oriented, trying to do some of the projects. So then you can easily write the simulators, or you can write the programs. Until and unless you don't know how to use the TCL script, then it is very difficult. So we will be working on that particular TCL script as also. Now if you look into the architecture of our NS2, what is the architecture? So now we are going to start the simulator by writing TCL scripts, right? OTCL script, or in general TCL scripts. Now you are going to write the TCL script. Now extension of our NS2 programs will be .tcl. So any TCL scripts you are going to write, the extension of this particular files will be .tcl. Now you are going to give the .tcl. Now we have got an interpreter in between. So which is we have TCL interpreter, object oriented TCL interpreter, now which uses C++ library files. Now this interpreter will take your TCL and it is going to generate the simulation results. Right, now generally what is the output you are going to get from our NS2 programs is you are going to write an input, that is you are going to write your complete networking the programs with the TCL scripts. You give it to NS2. This interpreter, what it gives you a result. Now basically you get two files as the output. So you are going to get two files. So the first file is called as .trace files. We call it as a trace file, TRACE. So we are going to get a trace file. Now what is this trace file? This trace file is used for analysis. Now we can do lot of analysis with by looking into the trace file, right? What analysis you will be having, right? So you will be having so many nodes in your network. Now how many packets are going, what is the rate at which a packet is going, is there any drop in the packet, what is the bandwidth, what is the propagation delay. So like this, lot of analysis can be done by looking into this particular trace file. The second file which it is going to generate, it is called as NAM file. So NAM is network animator. So it is a network animator file. So we know that just by trace file, so you can try to do the analysis, but when you go for user end, that is user interpreter, now we can generate another file which is called as a network animator, so which gives us the animation effect of your entire program. How it is, in an animator way you can try to see how the nodes, how the packets are going, right? So we are going to get two output files. One is called as the trace file and the other one is called as the animator file. So that is why when installing NS2, you might be remembering, or you know that we have used three important commands to install NS2, right? If you remember, we are using three important commands. One is we installed NS2, next is we installed NAM, that is network animator, and the third one is we installed XGraph, that is try to draw the graph. So we need the animator also. Now with this we can try to visualize our entire working or simulation of our network. So this is the complete architecture of NS2. So it's very clear. You are going to write the program with extension .tcl. It will give you two files. One is the trace file, this is the output what you are going to get, and an animator file. So in animator file, so you can see the animation part, how the network is moving, how the packets are moving, is there any drop. You can set the time when to start your simulation, when to end your simulation, and whatever the results, it is available in this file. From this file you are going to trace, you are going to do the analysis, how many packets have dropped, if your bandwidth is 10 Mbps and if your speed is this much, how much of packet will be dropped. All those analysis part can be done by checking into this particular file. So this is about the NS2 architecture. Now let us come to the basics of TCL, that is tool command language. Now tool command language, especially in our Unix, it is very, very important, right? So see, already you have worked with some of the commands in your Unix. Say for example ls, right? So you have in your Unix environment, you go to $prompt and type ls. Now what is the use of this ls? Now what is ls? Ls, as soon as you type ls and enter key, it displays some of the content of your directory. Now what is this ls actually? This ls and all the other commands what you have used in Unix, these comes under our tool command language. These are the tools actually, right? Now these are the tools. Say now in any tool command language, so we have supposed to give a command, like say ls is a command, this is a command here. After command, space. So in tool command language, the space plays a very, very important role. So you have to give one space, then argument, space, argument, etc. You can have a number of arguments here. So like say for example mkdir, you are going to create a directory in Unix, right? So what is the command you are going to use? Mkdir. So you are going to say mkdir. Now this is the command, then you have to leave one space, then you have to give your directory name, or there can be more than one argument also. Like say if it is ls minus, you have got certain options, right? So space hyphen l. So now this hyphen l is an argument. So this is how we are going to say in our tool command language. So command space argument 1 space argument 2 etc. So now let us look into some of the basics things here of our tool command language. So first is variable. Now how to declare a variable? You know that in our C or C++, how are you going to declare a variable? Now you need what is the data type. Like say if you want a variable of type integer, you are going to say int a semicolon. This is the syntax how we are going to define a variable in C, right? C or C++. So now here in our TCL tool command language, now one of the very beautiful command is called a set. This is a command, set is a command, right? Command set, then space, you have to provide one space. Now set space a space 5. Now what it indicates? So it says that now you have declared a variable a, you are going to declare a variable a, and you are assigning value 5 to that variable. If it was C++, you are just writing a is equal to 5. Int a is equal to 5 means what? You are assigning the variable value 5 to this variable a. This is how you try to do it in C. Now whereas here you are going to say set a, there is nothing called as equal to here, just because see what is this, it obeys with this you have to remember in your mind. This is how everything works in TCL. Now if you are going to declare, assign one value to a variable, so now you see here, first you have to give a command. The command for that is set, then space, then argument 1. What is that argument 1? A is the name of the variable. Then there should be a space. You cannot give equal to, because the syntax is like this. So you are going to give one space, then you are going to assign values. Now here this is similar to the writing int a is equal to 5. Here you need not worry about the data type in TCL. So it will dynamically take whatever the data here you are going to give, whether it is 5 or whether you are giving any decimal number 5.5 or you are giving any string in double quotation. Now everything is been assigned to that particular variable with the help of the set command. Clear? So set a 5 means assigning value to this variable a. Now take another example. Now set b space, see it is tool command language, set space command space b. What is b? B is a variable name. Again space, this is nothing but argument 1. You have another argument. What is that argument? $a. So $a means what here? It is a pointer operator. Now what we are doing in this command is that, now say that in your C, now you are going to write like this. So you declare two variables. Now int, let us say a is equal to, you assign value 5 to this a comma b. So what this line says, it says now you have two variable a and b. In a already by default you have assigned 5. Now you want to put this value in b. So then how do you write? So you will just write b equal to a. So you assign the content of a to b. So when you say b is equal to 8, what value b get? B also will get value 5. Now the same thing here in TCL we are using like this. So what you are going to tell? You are going to tell set, right? This is the command space argument. Now I am taking a new variable b, right? I give one space argument 2. Now I want to put the content of a. In a, what is there in this line? Already we are given. In a, 5 is there. Now I want to assign the content of a. So how do you get content of a? By using dollar symbol. So when you say $a, so then this is 5. $a is what? Content of variable value present in this variable a. So $a means 5. Now you are assigning 5 to a new variable b by using this line. This is how you are going to use this particular set command, right? So next, another important thing in TCL is procedures. So like in your other programming language, how we are calling functions, now here we call it as a procedure. Now the basic syntax for the procedure is as follows. Now the procedure takes the command proc. It is just like writing a function. Okay, you are writing one function, right? So now proc, so it is the name of the procedure. So by you have to use proc means you are going to create one procedure. Then space, see tool command language, first is command, then space. Now all the things remaining are arguments. So now here, now it takes 3 arguments. The first argument is name of the procedure. So let us say that we are giving name of the procedure as diagonal. Some function name or any small name of the function or procedure we are going to say. This is the first argument. Now second argument is the parameters. Now it has to start with open flower bracket, so there should be a space. Now you have to remember very carefully, very important, because you know that this is the command line. TCL is the tool command language. First is you are given command, then there should be a space, then argument 1. Argument 1 is name of our procedure, what we are given, DIAG. Now this after argument 1, again there should be a space. So you have to give one space here. Very important. If you miss here, then you will get the errors, right? So you space second argument. Now this the second argument is open flower bracket. Now you are giving 2 parameters here. The first parameters you are saying a, and the second then space a space b. Space plays a very important role. So a space b, closed it with the flower bracket. Now this is the second argument for our defining a procedure. After this, third argument is there. Again you have to leave one space and open flower bracket. Open flower bracket. Right, this is the third argument. So it takes 3 arguments. Sir, why see, generally when you are writing any functions in C, we have got the habit of say after the function name we write the flower bracket in the next line. we write the flower bracket in next line, so that readability, it looks nice, right? Now whereas here, by mistake, when you are writing in tool command language, when you are writing procedures, like say for example, if you write like this, PROC, let us say I write one function procedure name sum. I want to find sum of two numbers, so I have given the name of the procedure as sum. Then I give one space, then open flower bracket, right? So I want to find sum of two numbers A and B, so I will give A, again space, write B, then close the flower bracket. Next, if you write, okay, now this is the from after this, if you write a flower bracket in the next line, it will give you an error saying that so the number of arguments are not matching, because for procedures you should have 3 arguments. You are given your first argument, name of the procedure, second argument, but third argument is missing. What is this third argument? Open flower bracket. So open flower bracket should be in the same line. Please remember it very carefully. So the open flower bracket should be in the same line. Don't try to give it in the next line. It should be in the same line only, so that now the entire procedures, the heading or definition is over. Now inside this, now we start to write some procedures, right? Now again we are using set, variable name you are taking C, right? So then we do certain calculation. And how do you do some simple calculations in your Unix? By using expr command. Already you know that, so you have written various programs here, right? So expr, now I have got some values I'm doing, right? So some square root of I'm taking $a means what? Content of variable A. So I am taking the content of A multiplied with the content of A, means A square plus B square, right? So you are doing some mathematical operations you are doing, and all this, see here, now whatever the expression, so this is the value what you are going to calculate, right? You are going to calculate this value. Whatever result you are going to get, you store it in variable C. You are going to store this in variable C. That is what, see here you have seen set A5, means 5 is stored in A, but instead of 5 I have an expression here. That's all, very simple. You have some expression here, right? So we calculate something, whatever the result is there, you set it to C. Clear? So now you want to return. So now return $C. If you just say return C, output will be C only, because you are returning C. But what you want that result, right? Where is that result? If you want to get the value, then you have to use dollar in front of that variable. So return $C and end it with the flower bracket. So this is the opening bracket, now this is the end bracket. Now this till here our procedure you have completed. So now we are going to call this procedure. So how you want to call this? So I'll say puts. Now puts is a command through which you are going to display the content on your screen in your TCL scripts, right? Puts in double quotation diagonal, so some value number 3 and 4 something is equal to, now you see here this is the procedure name DIAG. Now it takes how many arguments? 2 arguments. Now you are giving 2 arguments, 3 space 4, and you give diagonal inside the square bracket diagonal 3 4. Now this value 3 is assigned to A, 4 is assigned to B. Then it comes here, it calculates 3 into 3, 3 square plus 4 into 4, right? 3 3 is a 9, 3 into 3 is 9, 4 4 is 16, so 9 plus 16 is added. The result is stored in sum, and you are going to return that value will be printed here. It will be printed here. So when you run this in TCL, so you are going to get this as your output. So it says diagonal of 3 and 4 right triangle is 5, right? Because after finding this, you find the square root of this, so which will give you the result 5. Now this is a simple way how you are going to create a procedure in our tool command language, right? So you just understand these things. So in our next we will try to work it when you go for the practical sessions, so we will try to work with all these things. Next, loop. Now we have an if conditions. If is very simple, so when we are going for the practical, there itself will be explaining how we are going to write if. Now apart from if, now another two important loops are while and for loop. Right, try to understand the syntax here. Now while contains two parameters, so the command is while space, first parameter is this one, condition. How we are going to give? Open bracket $I, content of I may be, like say you might be setting I is equal to 1, some values. So content of that, if it is less than $n space open flower bracket. Now this bracket should be in the same line, don't give this in the next line. See, when you are writing while in C program, since you have already been having that habits, you write some see in C how you are going to write while I less than n, you write open bracket, write some coding, and you end it with a bracket. This is the general way. But when you are writing it in TCL, this bracket should be in the same line, here, same line. It should be open bracket. Close bracket you can give anywhere. You can give this close bracket here also, or in the next line also, after your body of while loop. So this is how we are going to have the while loop, which takes two parameters. Now for loop takes four parameters. See, in C for we are taking three parameters, right? So in C how you are going to write? For I equal to 0 means initialization, semicolon, I is less than n. For example, I is less than n, that means condition, semicolon, then increment operator I plus plus, right? Close the small bracket. So and you are going to write open flower bracket and close the flower bracket and some condition body of your for loop. This is how you write in C. But here in TCL, the for loop considers four parameters. It takes four parameters. How we are going to write? For, this is the command, space, first argument. What is this first argument? Initialization. You want to initialize I equal to 0. Here you say I equal to 0, but in TCL how we are going to put the initialization? Set A5, right? Similarly here we are going to say set I 0. So I equal to 0. So now this is your first argument. For open flower bracket, set I space 0. See, spacing is very important. You have to give space. Then close it with the flower bracket, again space, right? Second argument. What is the second parameter here? So condition. In C like this you are giving I less than n. But now here you cannot give I here. You want to check the content what is there in I. So you have to give $I. Open flower bracket, $I less than $n. Close the flower bracket. This is your second parameter. The third parameter, third argument, right? Again space, open flower bracket, increment operator. So the command for increment here is incr space I. You want to increment I by 1. Close it with flower bracket. This is very important. Opening of your for loop, this flower bracket should be in the same line. Again I am repeating, right? In procedure also same thing, in while loop also same thing, in for also same thing. It should be in the same line. Then your body of the loop and close this bracket. This is how the for loop takes a 4 parameter. Clear? Now this is a simple program. How we are going to write the procedures. Now you can see all the for loops here. See, you have procedure, name of the procedure we are using test, right? Open bracket. I am not giving any argument here, so open flower bracket, close flower bracket, then starting argument for your procedure in the same line, flower bracket. Now set A43, some value, some numbers I am going to set. For A I assign some value to B, then set C, right? Some values to C also. What is that value? We are calculating. When we are using some expression, you add these two numbers. How do you add A and B? You cannot give simply A plus B. We have to use content of A. Content of A is $A. $A means 43, right? 43 plus $b is 27. You add these two, put that in C. Similarly, set D. Another big expression is there. Whatever the result this expression gives, you store it in D. So now you have 4 numbers A, B, C, D. You are using some for loop. Some program have written that. This is an example, right? Now you see here properly. For loop has 4 parameters. For command space, first argument you are going to set k as 0, second argument space, second argument condition $k less than 10, third argument you are going to increment k, and the fourth argument is open flower bracket. This is very important. This should be in the same line, right? After that you have some body of the program. Now you see here if condition, how if you are going to write in TCL, same if condition, right? Now condition should be in flower bracket. So if $k less than 5, open bracket, next flower bracket should be again here in same line. This you have to remember, right? Then some put s, print it, else, right? Else also, after else open bracket in the same line. Some commands, right? Some program we have to written here. Now this is your end of your procedure test. Now you want to call this procedure, so you are going to call it by just writing test, because there is no argument here. So just a test. If argument is there, you are supposed to provide the argument. So this is how we are going to create a procedure in TCL, right? So now this some of the simple basics what we have seen today. So later when we go for the practical session, so we will try to work one program in all if, while, for loop, and we'll see how you are going to execute the TCL scripts. So now we will come to our main topic, steps you are going to write for creating a network simulators. Now what are the steps you want to use in order to create any simple program for your computer networks? If you want to execute any network, now you are going to follow this particular simple syntax you are going to follow here, right? So now we'll see what is the steps for creating a TCL scripts. So the first step here is that you are going to create a event simulator, right? Event scheduler. So what is that event scheduler? This is your simulator. Now first thing you are going to create, because you have to start your NS2 program, you have to start your simulator, right? You want to simulate and check how the program or how your network is working, or what is the problem given for us. So first thing is you are going to create an event scheduler, which is called as a simulator. Now here the simulator is a main class, like in Java, how Java is the main class. Under Java only you have got so many classes are there. Similarly here our main class is simulator. Now you want to create an event scheduler. This is the first step. The second, you are going to create 2 files. As you know that in our NS2 architecture, we are going to get 2 output file, one for analysis, right? That is the trace file. It is called as trace file. Next one is animation. It is called as NAM file. So you want to create these 2 files first. So the second step here, open new files. What are those 2 files? One is animation file, other one is trace file, right? So output animation file, always the extension will be NAM file. We call it as a NAM file, network animator file. And analysis, for doing that you are going to create a trace file. So second thing, you have to open these 2 files. You have to create these 2 files. Now once you have created a file, because once you start running your simulation, your animation will be in this NAM file, and all the other details will be going to this trace file, so that you can later when you open this trace file, you can do the analysis of this. When you open this NAM file, you will get a visualization, animation you are going to get. So for getting that, you are going to open these 2 files. The third step is you are going to create the nodes. Now you have to create a nodes, right? So you will be creating some nodes depending upon our problem. Like say that if the problem is very simple, say there is one source and one destination. You want to send some packet from source to destination. Now how many nodes you want? You want 2 nodes. One node you are calling it as source, other node you are calling it as destination, Very simple, only 2 nodes. So you are going to create the nodes. Like this you can create many number of nodes here. Third step is creation of the nodes. Next is set up the links. So just by creating the nodes nothing is going to happen. Now you have to set up the links, right? Now what type of link you want? So it is a simplex. So you know that when our networks we have 3 ways in which you can do the link. When it is simplex, whether it is a duplex, right? So now what type of link you want to set up? So you have to set up the link between source to the destination, right? The fourth step. Once you created the links, now there is some meaning for the nodes. So now you have got a nodes, you have one source, you have one destination, you have established a link between that. After that you have to configure the traffic. That means you are going to talk about the transport layer. So because see, without transport layer from application layer, one minute. Okay, so now you have one node. Let us call this node as N0. Later we will see when we are going for program it will be more clear for you. Let us call this as our source, right? Now you are going to create another node N1. Now this will be destination. Only 2 nodes I am creating. By just creating a nodes nothing is going to happen. What we have to do, we have to set up the link. Now I will write one link here. Now this is our link, right? Now we have a link here. Let us say full duplex. Full duplex means so node can also send some data, source also can send some data, and destination also can send some data. So we have going to create a full duplex. So there are a lot of other parameters also will come, right? When we are telling this is a link, so what should be the bandwidth, sir, right? What should be the bandwidth? All the settings will come here. So we are going to set up the link. Once you have established the link, so the next step we configure the traffic type, right? Now when we have to go to the transport layer. Now when you know that in transport layer basically 2 protocols are there. One is TCP and UDP. Now what type of the traffic you want between these two, whether you want to establish a TCP connection or whether you want to establish a UDP connection, right? So now that you are going to configure. Clear? So you are going to configure. Now another thing is very important, later you will come to know when we are designing that. Whenever you are using TCP, the end that is the destination node, you should have sync. So we will be having a sync when we go for TCP connection. When you are going for an UDP connection, the end node or the destination node is called as null node. So this is very simple. Why? Because null means what? In UDP only the data will go in this. There is no acknowledgement. In UDP you are not worrying about the acknowledgement. So when you are using UDP, null will be there. When you are using TCP, sync we are going to have. So once you have done all these things, next you go for pre-processing. That means you are going for traffic and topology generation. So you are going for the traffic and topology generation. Now what here? Now you set the time of your traffic generation. Once your TCP you have established, next you go for our application layer. And when you are going for your application layer, if you are using TCP, then in your application layer it will be FTP. Remember this, very very important. Whenever in our problem it says that you should establish a TCP connection, whenever you are going to establish a TCP connection in your application layer, you will be using FTP protocol. If you are using an UDP connection, then in your application layer you will be using CBR. CBR means constant bit rate. That means constant at every minute how much packets you want to go. So this you have to remember. So when you are using TCP, FTP, when you are using UDP, CBR will be your application protocols. So you are going to fix the traffic generation. So once you set up all the time, so next step is you have to terminate your simulation, right? So you are going to terminate your simulation. So here once you are going to terminate your simulation, so now all the analysis it will be written into your trace file, and then animation part it goes into our NAM file, right? So then from that trace file, now you want to analyze. So analyzing the trace files and understand how to evaluate the performance of your networking protocol. Now you want to analyze your trace file. Now how do you analyze this particular trace file? Because trace file is a very big file. Analyzing that trace file is very difficult. So to do that, we should need some text processing programming scripting language. So for that, generally we use awk or Python. So awk is very popularly used for text processing. Either you can use awk or you can use the Python for analyzing your trace file. Clear? So these are the steps what you are going to follow, the basic steps what you are going to follow in order to write the TCL script, or you can say in order to write your network simulator program. So now based on those steps, now let us now look into the commands. So when you are writing your actual program, now these are the commands which you are going to use here. The first is how to create an event scheduler, because here what is the first step? You have to create an event scheduler. What is the command? How we are going to create that event scheduler? So this is the command in our TCL. Now what you are going to say? Set ns. So ns is what you know that in our command line argument, that is in tool command language. Set means what? Set, this is a variable name, right? Ns is a variable name. Why we are saying ns? Now we are going to write our network simulator. So set some variable name argument, right? Tool command language. Also now we are using object oriented. See, initially we told it is an object oriented tool command language, right? Now what is this? In object oriented, in Java and all, you have used this keyword new simulator. Now you are going to create an object of this class called as simulator. What is that object name? ns. Clear? ns is an object. You are going to create an event scheduler of this particular class called as simulator. So create a simulator object. This is how you are going to command to create a simulator. The second step is you are going to create two files. What are the two files? One is trace file, the other one is animation file, right? We are going to say open trace file and open animation file. So what is the command here? So first set, right? Set tf. So now tf, you are just saying it is a trace. You are going to say that it is just a trace file, some name you are giving, right? Like this. So you have seen, so in our TCL, so you are saying, like say previously we have seen set a5. So when you say set a5 means what? Some variable name, you are assigning some value. Similarly here, now for a trace file you are going to call some object you are going to create, because object oriented. Now what is your object? tf. tf means trace file. Set trace file, open bracket, square bracket, open. You want to open this trace file. So now what is the name you are giving for this trace file? You are giving name as out.tr. So always the trace file extension will be .tr. It will be .tr, trace file. So file name is what? Output, out. Any name you can give, but to be very simple, we are giving just out.tr, right? Again space, then w. So w says that you are opening this file in a write mode, because you want, when you are running your simulation, all the traffic details should be written into one file. What is that file? So that file, this file is out.tr. So now this is your file. All the details from your simulation, it should be written into this file, so that later you can analyze this file. So you have to open it in write mode. Clear? So this is very simple now. Set tf, square bracket, open, give the file name, open it in write mode. Next, this is very important. This is very important line. So once you opened it, now you are going to link that. So now $ns, right? You know that in our TCL, a is what? Just variable. Now if you say $a means what? $a means it will give you the content, right? It is going to give you the content. Now just keep that in your mind. Now you know that ns is what? Ns is just an object of this class simulator. Now $ns, remember carefully, $ns space trace all. Now trace hyphen all small letters, trace hyphen all. Now this is a command. Now what we are doing when you are saying trace hyphen all space again $tf. See, here you created the object trace file. Now you are saying $tf and you are going to bind this entire thing, whatever it is written in this trace file, you are going to copy that to your network simulator. You are going to link it to your network simulator. This is what what you have created, right? So for doing that, so you are going to use this command. So what is that command? $ns object you created here. You created an object trace file tf. Now you have to link both these things. How do you link? $ns trace hyphen all $tf. Clear? Same thing for animation file. Set nf, one file name I am going to give, right? Nf, network file or animation file. So here we have used tf, we are using here nf. So nf open output.nam. I give a file name as output.nam. I will write it, open it in write mode. Then I am going to link this nf to ns. How do you link that? $ns name nam trace hyphen all. See here, this was a tf was a trace file. So $ns trace hyphen all. Now here nf is what? Animation file, nam file, network animation file. So the command here you are going to use nam trace hyphen all again $nf. Nf is the object what you have created. You link this nf to your network simulator object ns. The command is $ns nam trace hyphen all $nf. So this second step is over. Clear? Third step, creating a node. Now what is the command to create a node? Set node name. So like you can give like this. So set, we'll type like this, set. Now I will give some node name. I will give first node name, I will write it as n0. N0, then square bracket $ns. So why $ns? Because you want to connect it to your simulator, this object, right? So $ns space and node, node. So this is a command through which now you are going to create one node. You want to create another node, same thing, n1, n2, n3, etc. How many nodes you want, you keep on creating. So to creating, the command is set node name, then square bracket $ns node. Next, link, setting the link. Now this is very important here. Now when you are going to set the link here, totally it has got, the syntax has got 7 arguments here. Now we'll see what is that. So first $ns, because you want everything should be linked to your network simulator. So right, $ns is the first argument. Next, type of link is the second argument. What type of link you are going to create? See here we told, now here we told that you created just nodes. Now this was clear, right? Now you have to set up the link. What type of link you want? Simplex you want, duplex you want, right? Based on that you have to specify here type of link. Third argument, then space, then $source node. Out of all these nodes which you have created, depending upon your problem, which is your source node? Whether n0 is a source, or n1 is a source, or n2 is a source, what is your source node? The third argument, you have to give which is your source node. Fourth, which is your destination node in this, right? Fifth argument is data rate. What should be your data rate through which you want the packets to go? Clear? Data rate, whether you are fixing it as 10 Mbps or 20 Mbps or 100 Mbps, what should be your data rate in this link what you have established between one node to another node? What should be the rate in which the packet has to go? that is what you call data rate. You have to give some value here. Then time, is there any delay? The time indicates any delay, right? Do you want any delay, right? So that we can analyze how much packet will be dropped here. And the last, the seventh argument is drop tail. Now the tail, the queuing, so you know that we have studied queuing nature, right? So there are many different types of first in first serve and different type of queuing is maintained here. But you know that now here we are fixing it at drop tail, means the packet will be always dropped at the end of the queue. Now if you are considering this as a queue in TCP, if the router or a node is maintaining some queue here, means as the packet comes, you try to put it in first serve. So first packet will go in this buffer, second will go in this buffer, like this queue you are maintaining. Suppose if all the queues are full and a new packet comes, it should be dropped. So because there is no space, from where it is dropping? From the tail end, from tail of the queue. So we are going to say drop tail. So these are the 7 arguments for setting up the link commands. Clear? Now we go for fifth step, traffic type. Now we have seen that now if you are using TCP, so then your agent, you have to link to that particular agent. Now what is your agent here? Agent means what? Now what is the type of transport layer? Transport layer we are talking about. So now, so you are going to use set TCP 0. This is one variable name we are using, TCP 0 square bracket new, right? New agent slash TCP. Now we are creating for a TCP traffic, you are creating for a TCP. Now this is your capital TCP, capital letter TCP. This is present in this class called as agent. So you are going to create an object, a small TCP 0 of this class TCP. Once you create this, you have to attach that, you have to link it to your network simulator. So the next command will be $ns attach -agent. So agent whatever you have created, that is TCP 0, you have to link it to your NS, right? So $ns, the command here is the attach -agent $n0. Now what is this N0? Now N0 is your source node here. This is your, see, you have created one node N0, you have a destination node N1. Suppose say only 2 nodes you have created one link. Now this link is TCP. Now if this is your TCP link, so now N0, this is your source, what you are calling. Now this, the TCP 0, there is the object what you have created. Now this you are linking it to N0. Now you are going to say that this N0 is of TCP. You are linking it to your TCP protocol here. If you are using a TCP transmit, that's what I told. So here now if you are using a TCP connection, source you have to connect it to TCP, destination you have to connect it to sink, SINK. So we are going to call it as a sink. This will be your sink here. If you are using UDP, so then the source will be CBR and destination will be null. So these are the compulsory, you have to remember these things, right? So now here, just now we are doing for TCP traffic. So what we are saying, $ns attach -agent $n0 $TCP 0. For N0 you are attaching TCP, right? So you are going to attach these things. Now similarly, if you are using UDP, then set UDP 0 new agent slash capital UDP and the same command $ns attach agent $n0 $UDP 0. Clear? Whether you are using TCP or whether you are using UDP, traffic type you have declared. Next is time of the traffic generation. So now you are going to go to the application layer. So now if you are using TCP, so then your application layer protocol will be FTP, right? So now you are going to say $FTP 0 set packet size. set packet size. Now what should be the packet size? 50 packets, or how many packets you are going to give. Similarly, $FTP0 set interval. Interval means time. What should be the from one packet to one packet, or in what interval rate you want to transmit, right? If it is a TCP, if it is an UDP, so then CBR. If it is TCP, you are going for FTP in our application layer, right? So then if it is UDP, then you are going for CBR. This is the sixth step, or the commands what you are going to use. And the next step is the termination. This is very, very important. So you want to terminate your simulation. Now how you are going to terminate? You are going to write one procedure. So what is that procedure name? PROC. You know how to write a procedure in TCL. PROC, giving the name as finish, right? Open brackets, floor bracket close, and open bracket. Now in this you have created three objects. What is simulator object NS, NAM file, animator file NF, trace file TF. You declare this as globally. So global NS, NF, and TF. Then $NS flush hyphen trace. You are going to flush everything, because now you are going to close your simulation. You have used this, you might have used this command flush in Java, or when you are creating the files, right? So just you flush everything, then you close your animator file $NF, close the trace file, because you have opened the two files in write mode. You know that when you open a file you have to close. So close both the files, then you are going to execute your animation. How do you execute your animation? Command is exec your NAM, that is network animator. It is a command for executing. What is the file name? File name is out.nam. This is the file name for an animator. See here, you are given here out.nam was your animator. Now you want to execute so that you can see the animation, right? So execute nam output file name space ampersand. Ampersand means you are giving the address of this file for this command, so that you are going to execute your NAM file. Now these are the steps, or these are the commands which you are going to use for writing our NS2. Clear? So the first thing, you have to just go through these commands or this particular video, just to watch it 2 times 3 times, so that when we start writing the programs from our next class, now you will be it becomes very simple. So you need not worry. Just in 2 hours we can complete all the lab session programs in network simulator, because it is so simple. First thing, you have to understand all these commands. Okay, next we go to our trace file. So you know that we are going to create one trace file. Now when you open a trace file, this is what the output you can see. Like this, it will be a very big file. Like this, you will see all the details will be there in the file. What is these details, right? Until you know all these things, you cannot understand anything. So when you look into a trace file, now it consists of so many fields. This is what, right? The first field is talks about our event. This field, this is the first field. The first field talks about the event. What are these events? Now you see here, read what is there: R plus minus, R plus, D plus minus. This is the event field. Event field, we have 4 types of events here. R means what? Receive. That is, it is a receiving. That is, packets you are going to receive. Plus means was NQ. NQ means packets are entering into a queue. DQ minus means packets are leaving out of the queue. See, if it is a queue, means packet has to go and packet should be transmitted out of a queue, right? So minus indicates DQ. See here, minus is there. There is DQ means packet are going outside the queue. Plus means what? Packet is coming inside the queue of one particular node. Every node is having a queue. And D means drop. So somewhere there is a D here. D indicates means this packet is dropped here, right? So now first you have got event field. Next is the time. So at what time the packets is received, at what time the packet is going into the queue, at what time packets are going out of the queue, that is DQ.
what is the time when a drop of packet is going to happen. So then front node, from node means source. So now what is your source node? To node, what is your, like say from which node to which node packets are going. There might be so many. So this is a program where a packet is received from third node to second node, from node to 2, right? So this is what the fields indicate. This is how you have to understand, analyze it. From third node to second node, a packet has been received at this particular time. Next is packet type. See here, ACK means this packet is of acknowledgement, right? Here you have got TCP. TCP means this is the actual data. See here, you can see here the next field is size. Since it is an acknowledgement, packet size is of only 40. This is the data, actual data which is going. So you see the packet size is more. So what is this? Packet type, whether it is acknowledgement, whether if you are using TCP, it will be a TCP. If you are using UDP, then it will be CBR. Then size of the packet. Next we will be having some fields, flag fields, FID. So you have got this. What is this? Flag ID will be there. There are certain IDs will be there, right? Next field is source address. So you have two things. One is the source address, other one is the destination address, right? Now here source address is 3.0. Here we don't actually use the IP address. This is how it is used in your NS2. Now this is source address. That means this is an output of a program where node 3 is the source. So source address is 3 and destination address is 0. Now you can see here from 3 to 2. 2 is an intermediate node. Then from 2 to 0. So 0 is your actual destination address. So source node is 3 and destination address is 0, which is your source address in this field, destination field. Next, sequence number, the sequence number of packets which have been going, and last one will be the packet ID. So this is the how you are going to have a trace file. So when you open this trace file, this is how you are going to analyze the trace file. Now when you open this file, and if you want to process this text file, this is a text file, purely text file. If you want to process this file, because this is a very huge file, it is very difficult for us to do the analysis, so we take help of a text processing scripting language, and one of the simple text processing scripting is awk. So we are going to use the awk. I think already you know how to write a simple awk program. You know that now it contains 3 parts. You have got a begin block, you have got some rules, and you have got the end block, right? So I think already you know about writing all those things awk. Now let's take an example here. So we write one awk script for analyzing. So begin, open bracket, floor bracket, we'll take a variable drop. I want to check how many packets have been dropped. I will initialize it to 0. Now we'll go to the second block of our awk. Now here actual rules I am going to write. If $1 means what? In our trace file, the first argument, see, this is of event. Now I should know, I have to identify this D. I want to check how many packets have been dropped. So to check this D, I should look into the first event. So this first event is $1. So you are going to check if $1 is equal to D, whether there is a packet drop. You do something, some processing you are going to do. So in end part, just print something. So now this is how you are going to write one awk script or count how many packets have been dropped, or any other analysis you want to do. So you try to use the awk script. So once you have written an awk script, the AWK file, now you are going to execute this particular file. You are going to execute this file. So you know the command how to execute an awk script. So you are going to type AWK -f file name. This is your awk file name, this file name. Now what is the source file name? Your trace file. So you are going to give this big trace file, you are going to give this trace file as an input to your awk file. So now this awk file will take the details from this trace file, and it will give this output whatever you have written in your the last or end part of your awk file. right? Now this is the how you are going to use this. Clear? So in this particular session, so we are completely in detail, we have seen our NS2 architecture and NS2 etc., and how the architecture of your NS2 program, and how the syntax, the steps, how you are going to create all those things. So try to watch this video twice, thrice, understand clearly all the syntax. So in our next session we will be working some basic simple programs in our TCL script. So how to execute a TCL script, and how to use if loop, while loop, for loop. So we will try to work with some practical sessions on our TCL that is tool command language. So until then, thanks for watching this video. Thank you. Bye bye.